Yo, what's going on, guys? So I get a lot of questions from you guys asking me where you start. Which program should you follow? Should you start with speed? Should you start with power? Should you start with strength? A lot of you guys ask me this, and to be quite honest with you, one thing that I always say is you gotta start with what I refer to as elite. That's one of my programs where essentially I develop a plan and a process for you to get to the athletic goals that you want to achieve. When I was younger, to me, it was all about hitting the weights, all about how much work you could put in. As I got older, and especially into business, it made me realize that, there was, developing a process for yourself is by far the most important thing, because all you have to do is shut your brain off and go execute, right? And go hard every single way. And that's how I kind of am. But to be structured, to have organization as a young athlete, that is one thing, the number one thing that I lacked, that I wish I had when it came to my training, when it came to my practicing, when it came to perfecting my craft, taking care of my body. I didn't have that process. I kind of just aimlessly did what I was supposed to do until season started, and then my coaches created that structure. A lot of you guys in the off season, you lose a lot of it because either you go on a trainer structure, you don't have your own organization and structure. So to start off the year, I get a lot of people asking me about goals and stuff like that. So, one thing I want to do, I obviously have a program, but not all of you can obviously invest in that, but I want to continue to help you guys as much as I possibly can. So what I wanted to do is I want to go over 3 exercises that I feel will truly support you guys in being able to develop a plan, a process, and goals so that you're continuously getting better for 2018, and you guys can obviously reach the the achievements that you want for your athletic career. So the first one that we'll go over is just going to be straight goals. And instead of just writing down a couple goals, what I want you guys to do is actually start to split it up. Now in elite, I break it down to in season and off season. Right here, I'm just breaking this down for off season for you guys. And I want 3 categories that I want you guys to start working on. So the first one is gonna be body, second one's gonna be strength, and the third one's gonna be skill. Now let me go over these real quick. Body is going to be essentially your temple. It's what you're able to what goals do you want to achieve with your body? This could be nutrition. This could be, hey, I want to eat, good Monday through Friday, blah, 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 all organic, whatever. Or it could be, hey, I want to be 240 pounds. I want to be at 8% body fat, and I want to, whatever that may be. So you have to think, what kind of body do you have to be in that's going to support you to reach your goals? So for me, I'm just going to utilize some of my goals. One of mine was, I always wanted to be 240 pounds at 8% body fat, right? And I thought to myself, that was a prototypical linebacker in the NFL. And when I was going for, those kind of goals and I was trying to play in the NFL, that's what I wanted. Now, to get there, I had to do a couple things. I had to obviously, the supplement routine that I had, at least in my mind, I took creatine and protein and stuff. So I would put supplement stack, right? And I would follow that religiously. I would, for you guys now, I preach follow macros. The more specific you can get, the better. So whatever it is that you need to do to get specific, this is your big goal, and you start kind of breaking down how you're going to get to that goal. Next is going to be strength. Now, strength is going to be all the tangible things that you can achieve in the weight room this year or on the field or in practice that's going to support your body in getting to that. So for me, some of my goals were always the bench, squat, and deadlift. Obviously, if I was going for a combine, so bench, I would say like 225 for 35 reps. Squat, I would say, hey, I want 495. 40-yard dash, I would say 4.4, sub 4.4. For vert, I had the 44 inch. My goal, I think, was 40 when I actually did it. So whatever it is that you feel will support you as far as getting your body performing at that level to achieve your goals, go ahead and write these down here. Now, the biggest thing I say is when you write down your goals, make sure that they're attainable. There's so much psychology behind about you winning those little battles as opposed to you just throwing a number on the wall hoping it sticks. If you've never bench pressed 225 for one and you put 20 for this year, you're either doing it illegally or you're just out of your damn mind. So make sure it's obtainable. Make sure that you can overcome and hit that key, that battle, and make sure you're getting to it. Now, finally, for goals is going to be your skill. I've made plenty of videos about this, but the skill, what I want you guys to focus on is what is something sport specific that you can add to your toolbox. So think of yourself as a worker. Think of yourself as a painter. What is one paintbrush you can add? What is one ladder? What is something you can add to your craft that will make you a better athlete? So I always, every single year when I get with my baseball guys or my football guys, I say, what's the one thing we're working on? What's the one weak link? Reason being is because I keep them accountable. They know that most athletes work on what they're good at, right? So if you're good at bench press, typically you're gonna see those guys going hard on bench press. And if they don't squat, you're not gonna see them on the squat rack that much. Does that make sense? So what you wanna do here is you wanna have a strong audit of yourself. Ask your coaches, ask your teammates, ask whoever and say, what is the skill that I could start to work on with myself that will go ahead and give me that jump in my game? You know, for me, a lot of it was you know, some of it was film. I'm trying to think what it was. It wasn't necessarily film study. I think my hips were really tight, so I think it was my agility. I think agility was a big one for me at that time that I wanted to work on. But more specific, for instance, like when I work with my baseball guys, you know, specifically in their skill, we wanted to work on something like their backhand, right? So one of them is an infielder. So if he wants to work on something very specific, like he's great all day here, but he wants to work on the backhand of getting ground balls. That's something specific that you want to work on. That's a skill that could be a weakness that you add to your game. So your confidence, when you come into that season, you know that backhand and you want to work on that every single day. So moving on. Sorry, this is gonna be a long video, so hold tight, or I appreciate you guys hanging with me. Pre and post training ritual. Now, I always talk about morning rituals. I talk about evening rituals. I still do this in business because I treat business like I used to treat sport, right? And I have to be able to perform the same exact way in business as I did as an athlete. So a lot of the principles I still take from the same thing. When I say pre and post training, I always have athletes set themselves up before a game. All the elite athletes, Kobe, Mike, LeBron, any sport you could think of, Ray, Ed Reed, all those guys, they all followed a pre and post ritual as far as the game, right? A lot of you guys have it. You guys might put on your cleats and everything the same way in your locker room. You might do the same thing. Get in the habit of doing that. Why just do it in season? Create this around your off season as well. So if you have training, if it's morning ritual, wake up, you do the same thing every morning. It sets the tone for what you're about to do. For me, I have a pre-training ritual. I used to do the same thing. I used to do a series of foam rolling stuff, and I used to do a series of take a pre-workout, make sure I ate 2 hours before. Whatever it is, make sure it's standard and make sure it's the same every time. Then after I might, so pre, for instance, eat 1.5 hours pre, foam roll, right? And then pre-workout. I don't take that anymore, but this was back in the day. Then post, same thing. Like post if you need to go, creatine, stretch, whatever it is. I mean, this is training. You could do this, like I said, in the morning or evening. Standardize how you approach your training and how you finish your training. Standardize it, sets the tone for every single training session that you have. Make sure that you're doing this. This is obviously a lot centered around the weight room, but that's a lot of what I talk, so I want to be able to support you guys in that. And then finally is your daily breakdown and preparation. So what we're doing is we're reflecting on our goals. So you want to structure your day. Like I said earlier, the biggest mistake that most athletes make is they don't have that organization and structure. You don't have that process that you're following to obtain those goals. You put them on the wall and hope they stick. And then what happens is once you get into the season, you work with your coaches and they provide the structure. So the biggest thing, and why you think you get so good in season, because you have that structure. You got to show up to practice every day. Do the same thing for yourself if you want to be elite. You have to do it like this, especially at a young age. So what I say is go ahead and make a slot, right? And it's minutes. And then that practice that you're gonna have. So minutes, practice that you're gonna have, minutes, practice that you're gonna have. And what you'll do is you'll just simply break down a sheet of paper and let's say the things that you wanna devote your time to. So I know every single day I'm gonna work on my agility. So my lateral change of direction is weak. I know that's my weakness. I'm gonna start with that. I'm gonna say, hey, 20 minutes a day, no matter what, rain or shine, I'm working on my change of direction. That's the biggest weakness I have. That's the one thing I wanna add. That's what I'm working on. For the example that, like I said, with the guy with the backhand, 10 minutes a day. All he did for 10 minutes was he focused on taking that backhand. So take that one weakness, add it to you every offseason. I always talk about LeBron James. I sound like a broken record. The year that they lost to the Mavericks, he was forced, maybe that year, maybe not, but he was forced to play a more post-style game. And he didn't have essentially that skill level to be able to keep up with the guys who were guarding him. So what did he do that next offseason? That next offseason, he said, for the rest of my career, I'm gonna make sure I'm a good post player. So that offseason, he hired the greats. He hired Akeem Olajuwon, he hired David Robinson, he hired all these great guys who have great post games, and he went ahead and hired them to teach them skills. He picked their brains, he added that tool to his toolbox, that skill that he never had. And that's why every offseason you wanna build upon that. Focus on one thing and it stays with you the rest of your life. Next, I say, hey, whatever your training session is, you have 60, whatever it is, 60-minute training session, 90-minute training session, put it there, structure it. If at night you wanna do recovery, you wanna spend 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes on recovery, foam rolling, bath, Epsom salt bath, whatever it is, put that there. Take the time and structure certain things in your day that's going to help get you to reach these goals. If it's taking supplements, if it's cooking, if it's preparing meals, whatever it is, put that time there. What this does for you is every day that you wake up, you know you gotta devote that time to it. And to be quite honest with you, once you get done all of this and you add it up, you'll start to realize it's only 3, maybe 4 hours of your day out of 12 hours. Probably 8 hours that you're awake, 8 to 10 that you're awake, and you start to realize, where'd the rest of my day go? But if you structure it like this, you can then go ahead and make sure that you have, you take a little chunk of your day and it's concentrated work on your goals. That's the biggest thing, is you wanna have concentrated work on your goals. So, like I said, those are just 3 exercises to start to structure yourself. I wanna give you guys a process. If you guys are interested, obviously I have Elite. I think, like I said, I'm not just gassing you. To me, it was the one missing piece that I had when I was a kid. I had all the training. Let me tell you guys something. A very wise man once told me, I could give you the best program in the world, and if you follow it half-ass, you're gonna get half-ass results. If I give you a shitty program and you follow it 100%, you're gonna get better results, okay? So it's not so much about the program, it's how you approach it. So with that in mind, if I have to approach it this certain particular way, then I need you guys to focus on the plan and the process. Start structuring. This is something I wish I had. That's why even if it's just this, I'm just rambling now, but even if it's just you're implementing one little thing that's gonna help you facilitate your process and your approach to your training and your off season, I did my job today, and I hope you have a great 2018. Love y'all, and I'll talk to you guys next time.